live on Periscope, on Twitch, and now almost YouTube. We're getting there. Hold on. Do 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 do. What will be, will be. Here we go. We are live on Periscope, on YouTube, on Twitch. Let me make sure it's working here. I am, here we go. Nice. So, I wanted to come to you live on the weekend as I'm testing out some technical things. See if I could show you my screen, show you some of the articles that I'm going to be reading from. I will be going live more often on weekends. I will be going live as much as I can. Thank you for watching, tuning in on a weekend. It is 3:42 right now. Any green hats or anything like that. Let me know if you could see me, if you could hear me well. I am using a new program, so the tech could be interesting. Is the screen going to turn green for the show, St. Paddy's Day? Hey, I would rather the screen turn green than turn purple. If you've been paying attention to my live streams, yesterday was now the fourth time that the screen has gone purple. I don't know if it is a conspiracy on the part of YouTube. I don't know if it is a conspiracy on the part of Dapple or Russia or somebody, but YouTube's answers to me have not been satisfactory. Let's put it that way. Hold on one sec. Telling my business partner. So basically, right now I'm testing some things out. I want to see if I could get the screen, my screen, to be shared. So work with me here. Let me know if you see my screen. Now, that would be my desktop screen. Did you see my screen? Oh, you do. Here we go. Perfect. So you can see my screen, which is major study finds the U.S. is an oligarchy. I'm going to make sure you can, I'm going to scroll down, see if you could read it. There's a little bit of a delay, but that's okay. So let me know if you see that. I'm coming back to YouTube now to see. Yes, you can see it. Wow, this is revolutionary. This is revolutionary, folks. So now I could read you articles. I could play clips. A lot to do. Very, very little time to do it. So I want to get into the topic of oligarchy, which they don't teach you about in elementary school, obviously, and isn't the sexiest thing on cable news. Now I'm back on my screen. Press the share button if you can. Let people know I'm live right now. I'm also going to put in, oops. Make sure you can still see me. Okay, I'm back. I'm also going to be playing a clip that I think, whatever has changed, I'm finally getting live alerts. Fantastic. I'm also going to be playing a clip that I think is the definition of the oligarchy. So if you haven't been paying attention, Bernie Sanders, he's doing a live town hall on Monday from the Capitol. He is going to be interviewing Elizabeth Warren, Michael Moore, and some other people about oligarchy. And he wrote a piece yesterday all about the corporate media and how they refuse to show the emerging, it's not so emerging, it's been this way for a while, the absolutely out of control oligarchy that is the United States of America. Or as I like to call it, the United Corporations of America, or interchangeably, the United States of Oil. It's all the same. And by the way, how do you like my cool new AirPods? I'm becoming very establishment. I just bought these AirPods today, so I would love to know if you're hearing me any better. Oh, we got 50 people watching on a Saturday. This is good. Press the share button. And as a reminder, if you haven't been paying attention this week, I just launched a new reporting Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jordan Sheridan Reports. Go check it out. My first podcast there is up. I'm going to be recording my second podcast after this. Podcasts are going to be on the Patreon. Also, my daily video diary that gives you behind the scenes on what's going on as we launch our new company. Hint, hint, I'm in the final stages with the designer on doing the logo. He just sent me his latest vision, and it's looking badass. Looking badass. So we will be debuting the name as well as the logo at a later date. But so definitely check out the reporting Patreon. Definitely appreciate anything you could do. Lowest level is $2, then you got $5 and beyond. Now, Bernie wrote a piece basically saying we cannot depend on the corporate media to do the reporting that is necessary. They're not going to talk about the income gap. They're not going to talk about the forces that are driving the income gap. They're certainly not going to talk about the politicians that are basically taking legal bribes to make sure that the inequality continues. They're not going to talk about all that. So, live Jimmy Dore show at 5 o'clock Eastern. Good thing I'm doing it now and not at 5 o'clock Eastern. I'd get no audience. And to the person who just said, look into Steemit, that's a good reminder. Steemit.com. Definitely go sign up, even now, if you can, while I'm live. STEEMIT.com. That's Steemit.com. It's going to take you a day or two to be approved, maybe a little bit longer, give or take. And once you're approved, definitely follow me at Steemit.com. That's STEEMIT.com/@Jordan Chariton. I'm typing it in for you right now. At Jordan Chariton. And I think that Steemit might be the next big thing. So I'm happy I'm getting in on the ground floor. Lee Camp is on it. Basically, it is kind of a blogging platform. You could post videos, you could post articles and other things, and there is no censorship. So it's not like Twitter right now, which is suppressing tweets. It's not like Facebook, which is suppressing all things independent media. And frankly, YouTube is doing it as well. I've gotten many, many reports from viewers that they subscribe, but they were manually unsubscribed, as well as not getting notifications, even though they pressed notifications. And also, when I tried to place ads for the YouTube page so I could get my videos out to more people, the channel was exploding out of the gate. 7,000 subscribers in 2 weeks. They denied almost every ad calling shocking content, even though I was reporting on water contamination and things like that. So definitely, first my Patreon, then Steemit.com/@Jordan Chariton. Got to do the ad sign. So Bernie's doing this town hall on oligarchy, and he's specifically doing it. I think he's doing it with the Young Turks, Now This, The Guardian, I believe, and one other. So not only is he talking about the corporate media will not talk about these things, he's also doing it with independent media. I mean, say what you want about the Young Turks. I won't comment, but he's doing it with the Young Turks, Now This, Guardian, and I forget the other. And this continues because he just did a town hall on healthcare. So he's doing these topical town halls with alternative media. And I say, wonderful, because not only is this going to galvanize more millennials to vote this year, it's also going to galvanize all people to start waking up to the oligarchy that we live in. Because I love this when they talk about, Russia's attack on our democracy. We don't live in a democracy. We live in an oligarchy. Need I remind you, I'm going to try my fancy, here we go. So there you see me. Do you remember this major study in the year 2014? Let me read it for you. The U.S. government does not represent the interests of the majority of the country's citizens, but is instead ruled by those of the rich and powerful, a new study from Princeton and Northwestern universities has concluded. The report, testing theories of American politics, elites, interest groups, and average citizens, used extensive policy data collected between 1981 and 2002 to empirically determine the state of the U.S. political system. After sifting through 1,800 U.S. policies enacted in that period and comparing them to the expressed preferences of average Americans, 50th percentile of income, affluent Americans, 90th percentile, and large special interest groups, researchers concluded that the U.S. is dominated by its economic elite. The peer review study, which will be taught at these universities in September, says, quote, the central point that emerges from our research is that economic elites and organized groups representing business interests have substantial independent impacts on U.S. government policy, while mass-based interest groups and average citizens have little or no independent influence. Researchers concluded that U.S. government policies rarely align with the preferences of the majority of Americans, but do favor special interests and lobbying organizations. Quote, when a majority of citizens disagree with its economics elites and or with organized interests, they generally lose. Moreover, because of the strong status quo bias built into the U.S. political system, even when fairly large majorities of Americans favor policy change, they generally do not get. Well, that about sums it up, doesn't it? I believe this study actually said 90% of what American people want, what the American people want, they don't get. Think about that. 90% of the policies that the American people want by polls are not enacted in legislation. And we're worried about our democracy being under attack by a foreign government. Democracy has left the building, folks. Democracy has left the building. I mean, it's kind of a joke when you keep hearing these people talking about our democracy is under attack in Russia and Trump is threatening institutions and all this rigmarole. Well, they don't seem to want to talk about the economic attack on quote-unquote democracy. They don't want to talk about this 1920s Gilded Age that frankly has been going on since the 1980s. They don't want to talk about that. I want to read to you, did you think Russia is a dire threat to us like Bernie does, Jordan? I think Russia's a threat, not dire. Certainly disagree with Bernie on that. I want to read to you something else. Let me share my screen again. So somebody wrote, let me see what his name was. Richard A. Kaczynski wrote this for the Chicago Tribune. I thought it was super, super interesting as my spinning disc goes out of control. Is America an oligarchy? He asks. Whether it is the unwillingness of Congress to reauthorize the assault weapons ban, or the inability of the same to allow for the negotiation of prescription drug prices by Medicare, both popular with a majority of Americans, we have to arrive at the obvious conclusion that as America is no longer either a democratic republic or a constitutional democracy, but rather an oligarchy of multinational corporations like pharmaceutical companies and wealthy special interests like the National Rifle Association, with members of Congress less sensitive to the will of the people than to that of their campaign benefactors who fully expect something in return for their generosity. Long before the U.S. Supreme Court rendered its decision in the Citizens United case, we were warned of the danger of our government controlled by corporations and lobbying groups, by none other than Charles Francis Adams, grandson of our second president, who eloquently wrote in the chapters of Erie, quote, modern society has created a class of few years since the existence of a corporation controlling a few $1 million was regarded as a subject of grave apprehension. And now this country already contains single organizations which yield a power represented by hundreds of millions. Everywhere and at all times, however, they illustrate the truth of the old maxim of the common law, that corporations have no souls. Woo, deep. Pretty deep, if you ask me. Now, do you want to see what I think oligarchy looks like? Do you want to see what the oligarchy really looks like in all its glory? Because I could read to you and I could give you stats, which I have, but I think this one clip really, really represents what I'm trying to talk about here. The sheer arrogance and stupidity of this donor who went on MSNBC to basically say, we're going to be done buying off. We're not going to give any more of our money. We're not going to give any more bribes to the Democratic Party if they don't stop talking about billionaires. So, I'm going to play this clip. I'm going to hold on, make sure it works here with my screen share. Okay. So, this is from Stephen Klubeck, who is the former chairman and CEO of Diamond Resorts. Here we go. Wait. Hold on. Oh, God. Too good to be true. Hold on one second. Hold on. No, I don't want that. Sorry, guys. Figuring out the tech here. Figuring out the tech.
Is set to meet with top White House officials, including Gary Cohn and Mark Short, to discuss tax reform. Joining me now, Chairman and CEO of Diamond Resorts, a good friend of mine, Stephen Klubeck. Mr. Klubeck was. The last time you and I spoke, sadly, it was right after the shooting in Las Vegas. Here we are, 2 days after a shooting in Texas. The last thing you said to me was enough is enough, and here we are back with another shooting. So
enough is enough.
Enough is enough. I hope you're watching, Mr. President. All right. You're a massively successful business guy. You're a major donor to the Democratic Party. What is your take on this bill?
Well, it's misguided because to get rid of state and local tax relief is a major hit to most Americans. Major hit, specifically in New York and California. And if you put New York and California together, it's like the 5th largest GDP. It's dumb. This is a big corporate tax bungle.
Shouldn't you like that? You're a rich guy.
No, I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to end up paying more taxes. But it's not, I'm arguing for this because it's not proper. They should go after net operating loss carryforwards. Then give kids relief for student loans. Don't hurt the kids. How can you hurt the kids?
Why do you think this is the Republicans' approach? I mean, when you look at cutting corporate taxes, you're not actually getting rid of any loopholes, so they're going to continue to use all the shelters. They're going to continue to use every trick in the book. Cutting the estate tax, the argument that they're trying to make that it's going to help the middle class, do you see it helping the middle class anywhere here?
I think it's a far reach. And, you know, if you're going to help the middle class, let the kids get relief for student loans. Give the kids help. Let them go to school. And to just give the corporations all these tax cuts and not getting rid of net operating loss carryforwards is insanity. It's crazy.
Keeping carried interest for private equity firms, keeping carried interest for real estate firms, that's just President Trump hooking himself up. But are Democrats going after it in the right way? Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who think President Trump is morally reprehensible, but they think, I want my taxes cut, I'm going to vote with him. And when Democrats continue to say, down with the billionaires, we can't stand the rich, a lot of people want to be rich. So is it the right message that the Democrats are going with?
It's so effing wrong.
Whoa.
Nope.
Wyden. I've talked to Pelosi.
And said what?
And I said,
why?
Because it's aspirational. I didn't start with anything. Just penalize everyone that's done well. We all want to do well. And we should be the party of doing well. We should be a party of business and leadership. And it is very, very disturbing when I hear the millionaire or billionaire word. And I've told them to stop it, knock it off. Because everyone wants to do really well. And this is the world of the aspirations.
Then are you worried that the Democratic Party is going too far to the left?
So much so, it drives me nuts. So much so, it would make me quit the party.
So much so that it would make me quit the party. So, there's going to be more. There's going to be more discussed about Mr. Klubeck here in a second. But just want to acknowledge that these are the people that own the government. These are the people that own the quote-unquote public servants that are supposed to be representing you. And let me know in the comments section. I know it's a little rough. I'm trying some new tech things, but hold on.